Hello, and welcome to Live Parkinson's, Live an Exceptional Life. I'm your host, Chris Custenbotter, and I've been living an exceptional life with Parkinson's for the past 15 years. And the mission of this podcast is to help as many people as possible living with Parkinson's to lead a great quality of life. Now, let me ask you a question right off the top. Have you ever caught yourself hesitating at the edge of a room, or looking down a hallway, or deciding not to reach for something on a high shelf, simply because a quiet, anxious voice in the back of your mind whispered, "What if I lose my balance? What if I fall?" If that sounds familiar, you're in the right place and you are far from alone. Today, we're tackling a topic that touches almost everyone living with Parkinson's disease, yet something that we often keep hidden out of either frustration or pride: the fear of falling. It's a fear that can shrink our world, turning a vibrant, active life into a cautious, restricted routine. But here's the empowering truth. Fear of falling isn't an unchangeable prison sentence. With the right mental and physical tools, backed by solid clinical evidence, we can untangle the fear, rebuild our physical stability, and step back into our lives with absolute confidence. So let's dive in. So to conquer a challenge, we first have to understand it. So when we look at Parkinson's disease, changes in posture, gait, and automatic movement pathways make balance a daily negotiation. The statistics surrounding this are stark and eye-opening. According to extensive global research and analysis published in Frontiers in Neurology in 2024, 45 to 68% of people with Parkinson's disease experience falls annually. Now, that's pretty high, with roughly 2/3 of those individuals experience recurrent falls. So once they've fallen, they might have 2 or 3 additional falls or more in the same year. Furthermore, large-scale prospective evaluations, such as the digital monitoring work that was published in Movement Disorders Clinical Practice in 2023, demonstrate that fall frequency in Parkinson's is double that of age-matched older adults. So someone that's 70 with Parkinson's has double the potential for fall frequency that someone that's 70 that doesn't, with over half those individuals classified as repeat fallers. Now, alongside physical falls runs the heavy psychological shadow that we all have, and that's fear of falling. Clinical research highlights the prevalence of fear of falling ranges widely between 37 and 55% in people living with Parkinson's, with some specialized studies showing moderate to high concerns climbing past 70% when navigating complex environments. Now, comprehensive long-term studies, such as those that were published in the journal BMC Neurology and Movement Disorders, demonstrate that daily walking difficulties, balance problems during cognitive multitasking, and fatigue are the primary predictive drivers of this fear. So what makes fear of falling so damaging is its cyclical nature. So when you fear a fall, you're going to naturally pull back from the movement and exercise because you want to stay safe. But that very avoidance leads to muscle deconditioning. It's going to cause your joints to be stiffer and cause a decline in postural reflexes. And that's actually going to increase your risk of physical falling. So breaking the cycle is going to require a comprehensive strategy, which we're going to talk about here today. And that's addressing physical techniques or mechanics of stability. And then we're going to talk about rewiring the mental frameworks that amplify that anxiety that we have with the fear of falling. So let's start with the physical side of the equation. How do we bulletproof our bodies and retrain our nervous systems? Well, we turn to targeted, research-backed physical interventions. And the first one is my favorite, and that's dual task training. And you might be saying, well, what's dual task training? Dual task training is when you're doing a type of exercise or a type of movement and you're adding in a cognitive piece, such as naming animals or counting backwards or spelling words forward or backwards, those type of things. So in everyday life, if you think about it, we rarely do one thing at a time. We're either walking while talking, we're carrying groceries while we're trying to dig for our car keys, or we're walking on the sidewalk and thinking about our to-do list. But for people with Parkinson's, dividing attention can disrupt our movement becoming automatic, because typically you're walking down the street, you're not thinking about walking, you just do it automatically. But when we're trying to do 2 or more things at one time, that can become a problem. So this is why dual task training has become a cornerstone of modern neurorehabilitation. There was clinical studies that were evaluated digital and therapist-led dual task platforms, and they were published in Neurorehabilitation and Neurorepair, where they practiced motor tasks like walking with specific rhythm changes while simultaneously engaging in cognitive tasks, such as naming animals or spelling words backwards. And what they found that it significantly improves gait speed, your rhythm, and your step length. Okay, well, that's great, but how can we use that in our everyday life? Well, you can work with a physical therapist or someone else that's certified as well to practice safe dual tasking. It could be a certified personal trainer, but you always want to make sure that you start with somebody there watching you. And you can start off with something simple like you're bouncing a ball and naming different grocery items, or as you're bouncing the ball, walking down a clutter-free hallway so that you don't trip. And again, always make sure that you let your healthcare professional know and you work with a certified physical therapist or certified professional trainer. If you're going to start doing these exercises, you want to make sure that you get their approval first so that you're doing them in a safe and effective manner. All right, next up is external cueing strategies. Because Parkinson's affects the brain's internal rhythm generator, which is the basal ganglia, using external signals can completely bypass those internal roadblocks. Research highlighted in guidelines by organizations like Parkinson's UK and European Physiotherapy Associations shows that visual floor markers like lines taped to the floor or those little hurdles that you can get or the little cones that you can set up, or auditory cues like a metronome. I use a metronome when I'm practicing guitar so that I can stay on a steady beat, or marching rhythm. Anything that can give you a natural beat. They dramatically improve stride length and helps to reduce freezing episodes. So the actionable takeaway, if you experience freezing or short shuffling steps in certain doorways or tight spaces, one of the things you can do is try visualizing a line on the floor to step over, or have a steady count, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4 beat in your head to help reestablish a normal stride. I like to listen to music if I'm having some trouble with freezing because I can tend to move more when I have a nice steady beat to listen to. And then number 3 is highly challenging balance training. Now, when it comes to exercise for Parkinson's, the type and intensity of the challenge matter. So for years, people were told to play it safe with mild stretching and seated exercises. However, clinical research published in journals like Neurorehabilitation and Neurorepair reveals that highly challenging balance training is far more effective at preventing actual falls. Now, this type of training involves safely, that's the key word, safely, practicing tasks that intentionally test your boundaries. That would include shifting your weight dynamically from side to side, moving your center of mass outside of your normal base of support. So maybe you lean to one side or the other, or slightly lean forward. Stepping over obstacles, I mentioned the cones, or you can get little hurdles that you can step over, or even if you just want to step over lines. Or practicing controlled weight shifts, where you have to learn to catch your balance. Cochrane's systematic reviews on fall prevention interventions and Parkinson's confirmed that structured, progressive balance and functional training regimens significantly reduced overall fall rates by teaching the nervous system how to recover quickly when a slip or stumble happens. And I know this has happened to me recently. Lately I've been catching the front of my foot and when I'm in the store and I stumble a little bit, and I've done that multiple times. So I need to concentrate on what I'm doing. So the takeaway here is, under the guidance of a physical therapist, safely practice standing with a narrow base of support in shifting your weight side to side while reaching in different directions. So what you're doing is you're simulating things that you would do at home. You need to shift your weight to reach up and get that can off the shelf. And then building familiarity with how your body handles off-center shifts is going to help to dramatically lower the fear, because your brain learns how to, hey, I know how to catch myself. All right. Now we've talked about the physical techniques. Let's talk about some mental or techniques that we can use, because physical training is only half the battle. Because fear of falling is going to involve a complex interplay between our cognitive appraisal and our motor perception. And there were some studies that detailed this. One was published in NPJ Parkinson's disease, and where we have to train our minds just as intentionally as we have to train our muscles. So if we want to get over that fear of falling, we need to be able to train our minds to get over that. Now, one of the ways we can do it, which is number one, is reframing fall-related self-efficacy. Psychologists use the term fall-related self-efficacy to describe your personal belief in your ability to perform daily tasks without losing your balance. So if you think in your mind, "Oh gosh, I can't do this," then that's something that we need to train. So when self-efficacy drops, your anxiety is going to skyrocket. So when you think you can't, then your fear of falling is really going to shoot through the roof. So one way to help us with that is through cognitive behavioral therapy, CBT principles, because I've actually done this and I've done a podcast on it. CBT has really helped me get over some of those, what they call, they teach us to identify catastrophizing thoughts where you think, oh my gosh, the worst is going to happen. Those automatic mental loops that you tell yourself. I always said that it was like feeding the fire, that you start to have a negative thought and then you just keep feeding it with more negative thoughts, and that gets you into this doom loop. So what cognitive behavioral therapy does is it helps you to break out of those catastrophic mental loops that you get in. And one of the ways you can say, which the mental loop might be, if I step outside today, I'm going to fall and break something. So how to use this is you practice cognitive reframing. So when fear flares up, you take a pause, you take a nice slow breath, and you replace that generalized fear with an objective assessment. You might say to yourself, my balance is manageable right now. I'm using my walking pole and I'm choosing a safe, familiar route. So after a while, when you continually reframe the situation to act as it is and not how you perceive it, then that's going to help you to help overcome some of that fear of falling. Number two is mindfulness and grounding. Anxiety causes muscle tension, particularly in the shoulders and core. And ironically, that makes your center of gravity stiffer and more prone to tipping over. So mindfulness-based stress reduction techniques are going to help bring that conscious awareness back to the soles of your feet. So one of the ways you can do that is to practice a grounding scan. So before standing up from a chair, feel the weight evenly distributed across both your feet, feel the floor beneath you, and then take a nice deep belly breath to help lower your heart rate. And then initiate your movement with deliberate intention. So that's using mindfulness to help you with making sure that you're not getting your center of gravity off balance. All right. Knowing the techniques is wonderful, but integration is where really the transformation is going to happen. Now, here are some concrete action steps you can take starting today to safeguard your space and boost your confidence. Number one is audit your home environment. So take a walk around your living spaces and use a critical eye. So you want to try to remove loose throw rugs and ensure that any high traffic pathways that you use are free of clutter. So there's nothing there that you're going to trip on. You can install grab bars near high risk areas like the bathroom and the shower. If you tend to feel off balance and you feel like you're going to slip and fall in the shower, make sure that you have grab bars near those places. And then good lighting in hallways and stairwells, that's non-negotiable, because typically a lot of falls happen when people can't see where they're going and then they end up tripping and falling. So try to make sure that you have good lighting in your hallways and stairwells. Number two, incorporate supervised group exercise. Research emphasizes that supervised group training programs, such as specialized Parkinson's exercise classes, rock steady boxing, tailored spin classes, or balance classes, provide a dual benefit. First, they're going to improve your physical resilience while building friendships and community support, and that's naturally going to lower your isolation-driven anxiety. And it's also going to help you work on your balance and help you reduce your risk of falling. Number three, partner with a specialized physical therapist. Ask your neurologist for a referral to a physical therapist certified in neurological care, such as the LSVT BIG program. I actually participated in that with a physical therapist, and it was a big benefit. And they can conduct a personalized fall assessment risk and design a routine tailored precisely to your unique posture and gait patterns. Living an exceptional life with Parkinson's isn't about pretending challenges don't exist. It's about meeting those challenges head on with knowledge, community, and the right tools. Fear of falling tries to convince you that the world has to get smaller. but by combining evidence-based physical strategies like dual task training, cueing, and challenging balance drills with mental tools like cognitive reframing and mindfulness, you can reclaim your mobility and step forward with trust in your own body. Now, remember, always make sure that when you do these exercises that you have someone there to support and help you if you need it, but you also want to challenge yourself. And again, please consult your healthcare professional to make sure before you start any exercise program such as this that it's appropriate for you and your personal needs. So thanks so much for spending time with me today on Live Parkinson's. Now, if you found this episode valuable, please share it with a friend, family member, or care partner who might need it. Until next time, stay healthy, stay strong, stay connected, and keep living your best life with Parkinson's. Thanks again.